Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of my Introduction to Programming tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to write a simple program using the Visual Basic.NET programming language to work with numbers. The same tutorial is also available using the C# programming language, which you can also find under my tutorial videos here. Let's start by asking the user to input two numbers here. First, let's make two string variables to store the user input. Now let's display a prompt. There's a typo here. Okay, now that we have the two inputs, let's add up the numbers and display the sum. First, let's try to do it this way. So now I am writing to the console the text input 1 plus input 2 equals, followed by input 1 plus input 2. Now let's run the program and see what happens. Enter the first number, let's enter 12. Second number, let's enter 34. Now the program says input 1 plus input 2 is equal to 1234. That is not the sum of the two numbers, that is the sum of the two strings. Now, in order to add up the numerical values of input 1 and input 2, we have to convert them from string into a numerical type. In this case, let's convert them into integers. Integer types are used to represent whole numbers. Let's make an integer variable here, dim num1 as integer, and let's assign to this integer.parse input 1. So the integer.parse method takes a string and converts it to an integer, and we save that into num1. Let's do the same for num2. Now we have input 1 and input 2 converted into integers and stored in the variables num1 and num2. Now let me make a few more variables. Now I am doing the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division on num1 and num2, and then storing the results in the variables a, b, c, and d. Now let me output the results. Now we cannot add the text num1 plus num2 equals with a number, because this is a string and this is an integer. We cannot add a string with an integer. Now in order to show this on the output, we have to convert the integer a to a string. To do that, we use the toString method. And now we do the same thing for b, c, and d. Oops, I made another typo here. Okay, now let's run the program again and see what happens. Enter the first number, 12, the second number, 34. Now the program says num1 plus num2 is equal to 46. Num1 minus num2 is equal to minus 22. Num1 multiplied by num2 is equal to 408. Num1 divided by num2 is equal to 0. Now all these three are correct except the last one, because 12 divided by 34 is equal to 0 point something, and since integers can only represent whole numbers, that 0 point something got rounded into 0. Now in order to show decimal numbers, we need to use floating point values instead of integers. In this case, let's use single precision floating point values, which are called singles. So let's put single here. Okay. Now let's run the program again. Enter the first number 12, second number 34. Now the values are correct. Thank you for watching this video and see you next time.